So I made Hayden his lunch for tomorrow. It's a bunch of tortellinis with pepperoni. So that's his lunch. I don't know if that's enough, but he said to make some, so that's what he's getting. Anyways, what did I do today? I had to get a filling, which is crazy because I've had fillings before, but I'd never had them numb it. Like the last time they just like were like, do you want numbing? I said no, and then they were like, okay, boop boop boop, done. And I was like, oh, one, that didn't hurt like at all, which I don't know what like they did differently, but they were like, okay. So this time I didn't even ask them for numbing or not. They were just like, okay, this is gonna hurt for a sec. And I was like, what? And then they were like, and then they numbed my mouth, and I was like, oh my gosh. So my mouth got numb, and I had work in like, at this point, 40 minutes from when they gave me the numbing, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I went to, what's it called? I went to work, and like this entire part of my face was numb, and like my speech was messy. Like it was hard to talk. I wasn't drooling. That was like the one, like I was scared, but my coworkers were like, you don't even look numb, and I was like, okay, that's good, because I was like, it felt really weird. And then I couldn't even eat ice cream. I wanted to have ice cream and I couldn't. And yeah, so and after I could feel it start like getting back to normal, maybe after like an hour and a half of being at work. And then I like wanted to chew, like I was trying to chew on bread, and it started like hurting, and now my jaw hurts, like right here hurts. Yeah, it hurts. So that's where we're at. What else? Hayden worked today, 5 a.m. We kind of saw each other after my dentist and before I went to work, because I had like a 10-minute break where I was at home, and he got back when I was at the dentist. So yeah, and then I went to work and I made like a binder, which I talked to my boss about this, but I made a binder that was like how to do certain, or like different tasks to do when there's like extra time, because I've learned since I worked there before to now is that I feel like a lot of the hosts and servers don't know what tasks they could be doing. And then I was talking with a server that's been there the amount of time that I wasn't there. Like he got hired the same time that I left. Like he got hired the same month I left. So he was telling me that like people who are here for so and so amount of months shouldn't have to ask what to do, like they should just know. And I'm like, yes, I get that, but also it's creating a cycle of like, if you're having that mentality of like, oh, they should just know by now, they're not gonna want to ask, you know, like they're not gonna want to have to ask what to do if you think that they should already know, because then they feel bad about asking, but then they end up not knowing because they don't ask, you know. So I was like, you know what, because that's something I would do, okay, low-key. If I knew that people didn't want to like tell me what to do, I would not want to ask what to do. So what I ended up, and we don't have like a manager either. If we had a manager it'd be different, but there's like no manager. So what I ended up doing is I made a binder, and I talked to my boss about it, and I talked to one of the servers who's been there way longer than me about it, and I made a little binder with like different tasks to do like throughout the day, and tasks to do if it's really slow, and like all these different tasks. And so I brought it in, and one server asked me, did you make this? And I was like, yes, me and the other server made it. And he goes, don't tell anyone you made it, because I don't think people are gonna do it if you tell people that you made it. Like just let them think that's the owner made it or something. So I was like, okay. So I didn't tell anybody else. I mean, nobody really asked if I made it. I don't know why the server specifically asked, did you make this? Crazy, because I didn't want to lie. I don't want to be like, no, and then somebody like tells them later that I made it, and then they're like, wait, what? She literally told me she didn't. So I didn't say anything, or I did say something, and I was like, you know what? Smart plan. I kind of wanted to do that all along, but I'm glad you said something about it because I agree. And so this other server who's been there longer than the first server that I was just talking about, he, like, everyone thinks of him as like unofficial manager basically, because he's been there for a while. And so he was like, he saw the binder and he was reading it and he was like, guys, we need to get this done. Like, we're gonna split up all these tasks and we're gonna get them done. And in my head, I'm like, man, I wrote that. But like, I wasn't gonna say anything, but he was like, yeah, guys, we need to get this, like, we can stay on task and like do this and this and this and like it'll be good. And in my head, I'm like, I'm like, man, I made the binder. But it was funny because no, the owner did not make it, but I did tell the owner before I started it that I wanted to make it, and he was like, you have my full support. Thank you for doing it. Sounds like a great idea. Water break. But I was like, type, okay, I'll do it. And I just thought it was so funny how, like, the other server was like, okay guys, we gotta get this done. Do, like, you do that, you do this, you do, like, we gotta make sure. And I had like a checklist at the end of the night that's like, make sure you do all this. And he's like, okay, we need to get through this entire checklist before anybody can go. Like, we have to get it done. And I was like, yes, we do. Yes, we do. I was just like, I'm glad that I wasn't the one who had to like be like, guys, let's do it. It was like, he was like, okay guys, great plan, let's do it. And now I'm like really scared. What if he finds out that like I made it and I was just sitting there like, yeah, I'll do it, I'll help, when it's like I wrote it, you know? Which I'm not gonna say, because I did just like restart this job, so, but I don't want to be like, yeah, I made this whole thing from my mind. Like, no, I was working with a server who's worked there since before I started my first time around. And I started my first time around, I don't even know, 5 years ago? Because I was gone for 3 years and then I worked there for 2 years. So yeah, 5 years, at least 5 years ago. So she was telling me all the different stuff that like they could be doing, like, yeah, she was giving a lot of input, so that's good. And like, I wrote up a draft and then I showed it to her from after she already told me stuff. So like, I had like a list of things, and then she was like, oh, you should change this, like merge these together, or like that's too confusing, da 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 da. And so I just literally just changed it to what she said. Like, I just wrote it down. And yeah, so it's not like I just spawned it and was like, I'm gonna do this thing, which the owner knows that I did it, and that I was going to, and he thought it was a great idea, and he said that I have his full support. And I also got feedback from the server who's been there the longest. So that's my TED Talk. Proud of myself. It's 11. Probably gonna crochet for a bit. I want to watch Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, but it's literally not on anything, like the first season, and I don't want to buy it. If it was for rent, I'd rent it, but like, I don't want to buy it, so we'll see. But anyways, I'm gonna go. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this and you want to see more, you know, do see you. Bye. Oh man, that was so funny. In my head, I'm like, little do you know, like, I know what's on there. I don't have to read it because I wrote it. But I did look at it a lot, because even though I wrote it, I'm not like thinking about everything, you know, like I'm not like remembering all these tasks, so I do have to look at it.